After that we listened to music like thick as a brick. As in, why do I have to listen to this very long song when you're 7 years old? You should know that thick as a brick lasts 37 minutes. But now that I'm 31, I can say, at the end of the day it's very wonderful having those music Saturdays. And it was kind of like, in current blues, Joe Bonamassa is without a doubt the person who works the hardest. He has been a tireless force in the blues rock scene since he first showed his talent as a teenager by covering for B.B. King. At times he plays more than 200 shows a year, and collects so many old guitars that they should be in a museum. But if there's one thing that makes Bonamassa so good, it's not just hard work or skill, it's respect. The musician who was born in New York has always had a lot of respect for those who came before him. His playing is a mix of the licks, tones and ideas that those heroes taught him. He once told Guitar World, "So who are the players who made the biggest impression on Bonamassa?" Even though the list is long and varied, there are a few names that keep coming up when he asks. They paint a vivid picture of a musician who has spent his whole life not only learning from the best but also carrying on their work. It all started with B.B. King. The link for Bonamassa wasn't just musical, it was emotional. He told Premier Guitar that B.B. was more than just an impact. He was a teacher. "My life changed when I opened for him when I was 12. Bonamassa said that King's style of vibrato, lyrical phrasing, and unique voice on the guitar were like a singer stroking a phrase. He says that B.B.'s autonomy and control are like those of a great jazz singer. That's how good he was at the blues. Every note meant something. The way Bonamassa talks about King's restraint makes me think of respect. Even though he can make scorching snowstorms and fireworks, B.B. taught him how to be patient." Bonamassa said, "You don't have to play 1,000 notes. If you play one note with the right amount of vibrato and feel, it says more than any run ever could." Jeff Beck stood for mystery and chaos, while B.B. King stood for purity and order. Bonamassa sees Beck as a magical person who can change the laws of physics and what people expect. He told Guitar World that Jeff Beck made the blues mean and angry. He altered the rules. He was the best rock guitarist who ever lived. He was very sad when Beck died in 2023. He said in honor of her that the world now has a hole. He was a gift to the country. It's easy to see why. From the crazy wordplay and truth to the experimental beauty of Blow by Blow, Beck's work had a lasting effect on Bonamassa's own path. This is how Bonamassa often uses Beck's dramatic style in his live shows, those bends, growls and sneaky harmonic tricks. But what he likes most about Beck is that he won't fit in. Bonamassa said, "He was a rebel, but he had style. He was hard to catch. That's what made him dangerous." There is something that every blues guitarist from a certain age owes Eric Clapton, and Bonamassa is no different. But for him it wasn't the Clapton of the 1990s, who packed stadiums and wore Armani, who made the biggest impact. It's the Clapton of Beano record. My favorite record was John Mayall and the Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton.
"It helped me learn a lot.
That tone and that way of saying it were perfect." Bonamassa said, "On that spot I learned how to play blues guitar." Bonamassa is quick to say that Clapton not only started the British blues movement, but also put together the work of American stars in a way that made it easier for new people to understand. Clapton was the link between Jimmy Page and B.B. King. He changed the old world into the new one. That Bonamassa would later share the stage with Clapton at the Royal Albert Hall is telling.
He said it was the completion of a childhood dream.
Bonamassa is a strong supporter of Jimmy Page, especially against those who say that his live playing was sometimes sloppy. "It is not about being perfect. I think it has to do with fantasy," he told Classic Rock.
Jimmy could write music as well as play the guitar. He made worlds.
The first 4 records that Page worked on with Led Zeppelin had a big impact on how Joe Bonamassa writes structure, texture and riffs. He changed the blues into something much darker and rougher. He said, "A lot of love is dazed and confused."
That's very basic stuff.
The thing that Bonamassa likes most about Page is how well he controls the mood. He knew the drama of reverb and the power of quiet. Those Zeppelin records let you hear the room. If there is one musician that Joe Bonamassa really doesn't understand, it's Albert King.
He only half-joked when he said that as a guitarist. He was the perfect idea.
Before him no one had played that way, and no one has since. Albert played with his left hand upside down, which gave him a sound that Bonamassa says is almost alien. But it wasn't just his unusual skill that impressed, it was also the way he came across. Albert threw notes at you instead of playing them. One can hear Albert's swagger in Bonamassa's words, that painful upward bend.
A direct raw approach.
He said that the way he plays is rough, it's strong, not pretty. Freddie might be the least well-known of the three kings, but not in Bonamassa's book. He said that Freddie had everything.
He could sing, wail,
and say things that would make you believe them. Bonamassa has often said that instrumental songs by Freddie King, like Stumble and Hideaway, shaped his style. He said that if you wanted to understand language, you should study this guy. I learned from Freddie how to turn a simple theme into something powerful. Freddie knew more than just how things worked though. Bonamassa told him that he had a soul. He played like a man who was in danger. Rory Gallagher is one of the most famous guitarists in Europe in Bonamassa's mind.
The Irish firebrand's unwavering drive and earnestness have made him a sort of patron saint for
blues musicians today. Bonamassa said Ryan was the real deal. Nothing fancy or flashy, just honest feeling. He remembers being amazed when he watched video of Gallagher going through Bullfrog Blues. Surface wasn't shiny or clean, but it was living. For Bonamassa, Gallagher stands for an innocence that is becoming harder to find. It was clear that he cared more about music than about style or fame.
If Albert King was out of the ordinary, Sonny Landreth is out of this world.
Bonamassa thinks it's magical that Landreth can play slide guitar and fretboards with so many frets at the same time. Bonamassa said, he's doing things that no one else even tries. It's not just slide. Worrying, muting, tapping and slide are all going on at the same time. It sounds like three guitars playing at the same time. Even though Bonamassa plays slide guitars sometimes, he thinks of Landreth as being on a different level.
He works in science. He changed the way the slide works.
Chris Whitley might not be a well-known artist, but for Bonamassa he's important to hear.
He said Chris was unique.
He played and sang in a way that made me think of a ghost singing through the lines.
His 1991 album Living with the Law, in particular, made a big impact on Bonamassa with its simple but emotionally charged music.
He said it was different from everything else out there. He wasn't trying to show off. He was just leaking on the tape. Not only does Bonamassa honor Whitley's memory with words, but also with tone.
His simple acoustic music has a similar sparse feel to Whitley's.
There are times when you should say more than play. Kevin Bright, a Canadian guitarist, best known in jazz and alternative music circles, is one of the most surprising names on Bonamassa's list. But Bonamassa is very full of praise.
Kevin is a miracle.
I've never heard anyone play slide guitar like that before. Bonamassa likes Bright's style because it is creative and out of the ordinary.
He'll play a note that doesn't sound right,
and then fix it.
That is brilliant.
Bright may not have had as much of an impact on Bonamassa as B.B. King or Jeff Beck, but it shows how open he is to new ideas, and having a wide range of tastes.
He said that good music doesn't need to be well known.
It just needs to be real. Many times, Bonamassa has said that he is like a conduit, someone who takes the work of the masters and brings it to a new age.
He said, I'm a link between the old and the new.
I try to keep the flame burning and move things along. That's why the musicians who shaped him aren't relics, but partners in crime.
Yet their sounds, words and ideas keep changing as he plays.
Night after night, on stages all over the world, I hear B.B., Albert and Rory every time I pick up a guitar. Bonamassa said, they're all in there somewhere. He added,
and if I'm lucky, I add a little of myself to the mix.
This mix was made with vinyl and sweat, alone and on stage, and when it's in Joe Bonamassa's hands, it still speaks loud and clear.